I'm gay. I'm so proud. What are you proud of? That you get a boner for men? That's not even up to
The
you.
pride in the title isn't referring to the literal concept of being proud of
so
who you
inaccurate.
are. Ultimately,
Let's
I
take a
think
look.
everyone should be
I'm
proud to
gay.
a degree.
I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay.
Say some fucking gay shit.
I'm gay.
Oh, I don't like this. How come every time somebody expresses themselves, everybody loses their mind?
Compound outrage.
What? What does that mean?
Well, it's when one side gets angry over something small, and instead of just explaining it, the other side responds with
But
equal anger.
Fighting fire with fire rarely changes anyone's opinion.
People are irrational.
I wish people would just stop getting so worked up when somebody just wants to express themselves and who they are. I think it's time we have a legitimate conversation about identity.
Hold it right there, buddy. You want to talk about identity in 2019?
What's wrong with that?
You're gonna make a fool of yourself.
What do you think, Atris?
He's not in right now.
Not in? He's my subconscious. Where did he go?
I sent him on an errand. Don't worry about it.
What?
Take a load off. I'll tackle this one.
Oh, well, I guess I could take a break.
Good boy. So, if we're gonna talk about identity in this day and age, I think we need to start by understanding each aspect of what identity really means, and how each of our individual journeys to find our identity affects each one of us differently. And what better place to start than with sexual orientation? Before we dive into this topic of today's video, I want to go over identity and personality as a whole and its definition. Identity is the distinguishing characteristic or personality of an individual, or the relation established by psychological identification. Personality is the combination of characteristics or qualities that form an individual's distinctive character. Now, the major difference between identity and personality is the word characteristic, where personality is a conglomerate of a variety of characteristics, and identity is the defining characteristic used to distinguish somebody. So let's define characteristic. A feature or quality belonging typically to a person, place, or thing, and serving to identify it. Well, we could just end the video right here, right? That's the mix-up. People tend to conflate identity and characteristics. But fortunately for you, I still have much more to say. We begin with the assumption that the overarching self of a person includes, among other things, a social and a personal identity. The personal identity allows an individual to appear unique through a specific combination of personality characteristics, abilities, interests, physical attributes, and biography. Personality and personal identity are determined by a phrase used by psychologists as biosocial, which means that they are both genetically predefined and socially reshaped. Now, the social identity is the set of characteristics that an individual pushes to the social forefront and are more adjectives than actual any real attributes. It's this social identity that we are going to be focusing on. Things such as, but not limited to, sexual orientation, occupation, religion, race, political affiliation, Myers-Briggs test results, IQ, and your zodiac sign. Like I said before, these are all characteristics of a social identity and are not the same as attributes such as openness or introverted vice extroverted. Not that they're any less valid, just different. But I digress. What I wanted to talk about specifically is the phenomenon that seems to happen when a person mistakes one aspect of their personality and makes it their total identity. The aspect in question in this video is sexual orientation, as famously showcased in the great #I'mGay debacle. Now, before I even get into that, let's talk about why gay pride is so important and legitimate. One of the most common things I hear is, "But, Elvis, if it's equal, shouldn't there be straight pride?" And, You don't see me shoving my straightness in your face. I'll address those both. First, just to be clear, and to lay down some hard-to-swallow pills, the reason gay pride is so important to so many isn't because we like being gay, it's because it's a celebration of overcoming adversity. There was a time, in recent memory, when being gay meant being ridiculed, alienated, ostracized, disowned, beaten, murdered. People had to hide who they were. It was a shameful thing to be gay. It was a disgusting thing to be gay. It was criminalized, abhorred, disgraced, and reviled. But throughout history, some strong figures and important events shaped the future for gay people. They paved the way for a brighter future. Stonewall, the Lavender Scare, Harvey Milk, the end of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the end of the Defense of Marriage Act. Not to mention all the terrible things plaguing us today that we're still fighting, namely HIV and AIDS. But this isn't a lesson in gay history. Despite the great progress, not only in the US, but around the world, there is still a great amount of discrimination, hardship, and adversity that the LGBT people face every day.
But, Elvis, there's no law discriminating against...
Get lost! He isn't wrong. There is no law discriminating against gay people in the US. And I'm not going to try and debate bathrooms or shop owners' rights. That's a whole other video. But in this new climate of gay pride, so many people who haven't lived the struggle of those who've gone before us or understand its history often forget LGBT history, and it is lost on this generation. Not to sound like a crotchety old man, especially considering I'm technically a millennial, but this history is why being proud of who we are today is so important. It is a matter of being able to say, yes, I am gay, yes, I am strong, and no, you can't push me down any longer. Being prideful of your sexuality, inherently and objectively, is stupid and superfluous. But the pride that comes from knowing the history we have overcome, and still yet need to overcome, is why gay pride is so important. That being said...
Hey, how you doing?
I'm just getting to the juicy stuff.
And you sure you don't need my help?
Hey, Cody. I put Zootopia on in the living room. That's what I thought. Now here's where pride becomes an issue. When it starts being used as the sole identifier for somebody's personality. Now, there's nothing wrong with being gay and having pride in who you are, but when you stretch a small aspect of yourself and plaster it as the forefront of your whole being, you start to come off as hollow, one-dimensional, and generally uninteresting. Everybody knows what to expect when they talk to you, and you have no real opinion to contribute other than talking about your sexuality. And that can unintentionally come off as shoving it in the faces of others, because that's all they ever hear from you.
Exactly. You don't hear straight people shoving their sexuality in everybody's faces.
Well, hold on. That couldn't be further from true. It may not be as overt or flamboyant as gay pride can sometimes be, but straight people are constantly talking about their sexuality and shoving it where it doesn't belong.
That's what she said!
Whether you like it or not, when you talk about your sexuality at such a frequency that it is your main identifying factor, you inadvertently become an ambassador for the entire community. And while this can sometimes be a greatly positive thing, it can also, and more often, be a fairly negative thing. The pros that can come are shared appreciation of a culture and a rich community. The cons, however, can be improper representation, reinforcing negative stereotypes, gatekeeping, being generally annoying, and scaring other people from not coming out. The major issue I have with this in general is the reinforcing of negative stereotypes. This can lead to people, especially younger people, being scared to express themselves because they don't want to associate with the image of the LGBT community. This particular type of gatekeeping can tell people who need our acceptance and support that they are not gay enough, or not a real gay, because like in the case of many bisexual people who are not accepted by LGBT community, they just need to make a choice or are traitors. For a community built so heavily on acceptance, we are really good at building walls.
We're going to build a wall. It's going to be built.
Now, what shouldn't come as a surprise is that straight gatekeeping has all the same negative effects, particularly in boys.
Oh, your boyfriend can't skin a deer? Alright, cool. Cool boyfriend you got. You should lose the 0. Get with the deer skin.
Now, why things like this become such a controversy is because of what I talked about before. Compound outrage. One side presents their position, and the other side disagrees. But instead of being level-headed about it, they respond with anger, and they feel like they've been wronged. Then the original side, feeling that their very being is under attack, and not understanding the other side's position, because it was never represented, responds with furious anger. And now have a following and a backing. And the other side attacks back, and again, and again, and again, until you have an entire newsfeed of just compounded outrage and drama, all founded on misunderstandings and confusion. So in the end, we should all just be ourselves. I know we all want to be unique and interesting, but guess what? Everybody is already unique and interesting. There's no need to paint yourself with such a broad brush. We're all broad and vibrant people with varying degrees of creativity and unique personality. Why am I being so positive? I sound like Atris. Look, bottom line is, if we want the LGBT community to be more normalized and not such an exclusive club of stereotypes and drama, then stop bringing it up as something contrary to being straight. We need to start viewing the LGBT community as parallel to other communities. Different, yet filled with a diverse group of beautiful people. Like the many colors of the rainbow. The TheSMonroeShow on YouTube actually did a very good job outlining this in their video, and I'll link that below. Well, all this positivity is making me sick. I hope that you guys have taken something from this, and the next time that you're presented with some adversity, just brush it off, and approach the situation with calm, cool, positive demeanor. And do not let the outrage compound.
Is he done? Oh man. Whew. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that little bit of content from Veovis. I know it was a bit of a deep dive on this topic, and I could talk about this for ages, but stay tuned for part 2 and much more in this series. And remember that no matter what anybody says, however much pressure you're under, you are so much more than the sum of your parts. I just want to briefly thank all of my fans and amazing patrons who allow me to do stuff like this for you guys. Without your support and feedback, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. It's an honor to be making fun content for you guys, and I'll be sure to keep making content in the future. So to my patrons and subscribers, thank you. And to everyone else, if you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe and share this video. If you want to support me, it starts as little as $1 a month for exclusive benefits, such as working with me on videos, receiving content early, and other exclusive Patreon-only rewards. A special shout out to Dizzy the Bat for making these amazing character stills. I don't know what I'd do without you, Dizzy. And last, but certainly not least, it's time to reveal my immortal patron. Thanks again, everybody. Please subscribe and ring the bell for notifications if you like my content. Bye!